Right, okay. You mentioned during the week, Karen, about QR codes and how to generate them and use them. Well, we use them in a basic format. But if you can follow what I'm doing here, I've just in Googled, I typed in QR code free, and up came these few sites here, and one is called QR code generator, and sorry, there's QR code generator. There's quite a few of them, and this is the basic one, and it's as simple as this to generate a QR code for whatever, for a YouTube video, website, or say, for example, you develop an app and you put it up on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You could have a QR code outside your building, and if somebody scanned it, it would take them directly to the app. But I'll just show you the basic one, www.lyit.ie. And over on the right-hand side, can you see the actual QR code? And maybe as a test, if you have an iPhone, or if you have an Android phone that can do QR code reading, you could just scan that to see if the website comes up. Would that be possible on the screen? Or you could go to Google and type in your own QR code free. Maybe it's better you do it on your own machine. So if you go
it's coming up as to the LYIT website.
Yeah, that's good. So what I hold on a sec here. I'll just try another one. And let's see, RTE one. Do you want to just try that and see? I'll try it here. In iPhones now, you can use the camera, and it will allow you to do it. Android's a bit different depending on what type of phone you have. Did RTE come up for everybody there?
Yeah.
Now, let's say we've all developed an app, and I just, here I went to the Google Play website, went to apps, and let's say, for example, I'll pick one at random. This Adobe PDF app was the one that we developed. You can see up at the top here, the address. So I just copied that, go to the QR code generator, paste it in there. The QR code appears, and if you try and do that one, hopefully it'll bring you to Adobe on the App Store.
Yep.
So now the QR code generator, it's free to do it like this, and there's a 13-day free trial. But what I've done is I've never paid for it. All I do is I use the snipping tool. Let me just, sorry. The snipping tool, I went to new, and I just grab that, and you can take that then, and you can paste it into a Word document, and you can make it larger or smaller, and you can laminate it when you print it or whatever. But basically, that's all there is, I think, to QR code generation. I don't see the need to pay. And that's only one of the websites. There's probably more. Any questions on that? That's I'll show you how you can use your app to do the same thing shortly.
Does it last? Does it run out?
Well, let's say, for example, you have one outside your building called, or you latest news about the area, and if you had it takes you directly to a web page or a YouTube video of a specific address. So if you update, say it was a QR code outside your building that said latest news, and the you have the actual URL for the latest news part of your website here, then it'll be constantly up to date. Do you know what I mean? Or if it's a video, a YouTube video.
Yeah, but what I was getting at was, whoever has generated that for you, do they disable the link after 30 days or after 7
No. Basically, see all this here. This is just a digital representation of the list here, and it stays like that forever.
Oh, right, okay.
So once you have done it once, that's why if you do one for latest news, and as long as you update the website, it will constantly be up to date. If you do it for a YouTube video, it's obviously fixed to that YouTube video. If you take that YouTube video down and put another one up in its place, it'll have a different address. You'll just have to generate a new QR code. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so if you had that in your app then, Martin, how does that?
Well,
do you put in, can you put the QR, is it the link?
We'll do that now and after this, but that's, if you wanted a button, say, to scan QR codes at the building, is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I will do that just after this, but it's the same thing. You know the way we had buttons and you pressed the button and it pulled up a web page?
Yeah.
This is just the QR code equivalent of it. And I was just reading today, by the way, that Apple are due to announce that their new payment system is going to be using QR codes in iOS 14 or something. I don't know how it works, but they're as popular as ever. So, by the way, any questions on that there? Does anybody, do you want to just try it yourself to see if it works?
Yeah.
Google QR code.
Dennis has said, Dennis has said it does work. He's got it working, just a bit slow with no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I'm a bit behind these folks because I've got the internet on the laptop, but I've no Wi-Fi on my phone. So I'm kind of 5 minutes behind these here, but getting there.
You can see there's not much to it, is there? Really? Go to the appropriate website, type in the address, get a snapshot of the logo, and away you go.
Do you know what might help too? I'm just saying, like it's probably my phone as well. Is that when I was too close to the code, the camera couldn't zoom in on it. Probably was too fuzzy. So even coming back like a wee centimeter or two from the screen, it'll give you a clearer picture. That's when it started working. Then you could see the phone suddenly picked up on the link. I had to come away from the QR code a bit to get a clear snapshot of it. That might help if anyone's having bother with it. You know.
And sometimes, the glare of the PC screen has an effect. You'll be better printing it out, and it should work a lot better as well at various distances. But there's a thing there, Dennis, we were chatting about earlier in the week. If you have an iPhone, you can use the camera directly to do this. On Android devices, it depends on the phone you have. Now, I've got a link here, how to scan QR codes with Android phones. And the question was, are you struggling with how to scan QR codes with your Android phone? And there is various things that you need to be aware of for different phones, and obviously whoever has the phone will know, should know, if they've ever scanned QR codes before. Some cameras and some Android phones work the same as Apple, and they pull it straight up. But I have a Huawei phone, and in Huawei you have to take a picture of the actual QR code and then open up the picture in the gallery or whatever, and there's a little you can select then scan QR code. So it's not quite as straightforward on a Huawei phones as it is on Apple. I'm not sure what the rest are, but if you just remember if you Google that, how to scan QR codes with Android phone, it'll give you all the information you need. But at the end of the day, if you put up a QR code, you're depending on whoever comes along to know how to use their phone, basically. So that's a useful site. By the way, the QR code website, the free one, I signed up 14-day trial. And you don't have to give any credit card details or anything. You just go in and they give you 14 days to play around with it. And they've got loads of examples and flyers and stuff and ideas in their on their website. So that's basically this one here, where if you go in, you will see loads of stuff. Okay.
That's great. Yeah.
Anything else in QR codes? Because I think that's it. You know, I don't. If there is more to QR codes, I don't know what it is.
But you think they're here to stay anyway?
Oh, I'd say so. Yeah.
I'm just seeing there, Martin. I know we were chatting the other day. My phone was exactly the same. I'm of a Huawei as well, and I never used the QR codes because same thing as yourself. I found it took me too many steps.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a bit of a nuisance, really, on the Huawei.
But I don't know whether it's something updated on the phone, because I find now when I'm zooming in on your LYAT one, now it'll give me the link straight away to select. But I never had that before, so I don't know. Unless the phone is hearing us talking, you know, during the week.
Yeah.
But I don't.
And what you can do, there's loads of.
But the links
this is not.
away, yeah.
There's another thing I forgot to mention. You can download a Barcode Scanner app from the Play Store or the Apple Store for free, and that'll do it immediately for you. And a lot of people do that, even if their camera does it. Now, saying that, during the week, there was 100 apps announced by Android that they should be very careful about, and one was a particular type of QR code scanner. So you need to just be careful when you're downloading from the Play Store. I think the security of Apple is much tighter than Android, but just be careful of. And when you download one of these barcode scanners, they're normally free and they're full of advertisements. So it's kind of, if it worked on my phone on the camera, I would stick to that. But you can use an app that you download. Is that okay? Now, well, we move on to just to put a button in to show you how you can get your phone to do this.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Now, you can do it both ways. I'll do it the Funkable way first, and then the MIT App Inventor way. Is that okay?
Yep.
Yeah. So I have a ready-made app just to make sure it works before I tried this, and I was built it from scratch in a second. I called the app QR, and on the screen I've taken in a web viewer and a button, and there's also what's known as a barcode scanner, and And here's the code. When the button is clicked, call the scanner and then go to the website. So what we'll do is start a new project or a new app. We'll just call it Q or code. Do this with me as we go along, and then you can try your own phone out and see if it works. I'll just go, so a new project name, QR code, you can call it whatever you want. We go create. And then add components. So I'm just going to drag over a button, change the text to scan, say. Now, when I have the button, I can then search for web viewer and drag that in. And you'll see here now that I have a web view scan button at the bottom. You can move those around. Next thing is search for barcode scanner. So type in bar and you can see barcode scanner appears, and just drag that over and it appears at the bottom. It's not a visible part of the app, so it sits down here. Okay, so all we have in our device is a web viewer, a button, and the invisible component is a barcode scanner. So we go to blocks. And what we just clicked, if you go to scanner, select the top one, in barcode scanner, one called scan, drag that in, drop it in there. So what this does is when the button, it calls a barcode scanner and it returns the result of the scan into this thing called value. So all you have to do is go to web viewer, and in the web viewer you'll see from web viewer 1 set URL to some text. So you just drag this in. So when the button is clicked, scan, the result will be in here. And then what you should do is set your website URL to whatever you read. So you grab value and you stick it in there. At that stage, you can do the live test on your phone by opening up the Funkable app. Click on live test. Scan, go to the URL, and it should pull up the appropriate website from the app on your phone. I'll try that with a few different, press the scan button again. Yeah, it seems to work okay here, but just check it out and see if it That's an example of just one button doing the scanning. You could incorporate that into your app if need be. Any luck with it? I realized I might have went a bit fast there because I've done it before. I wasn't that fast when I did it the first time, believe me.
Do you need to know, you know, there you're saying value type was cancelled error. Do you need to understand what that is, Martin, or just do it?
No, no, you don't. If it's a successful scan, the result will be in value. If you want to add in extra facilities, put up error messages if it can't scan, But in this one here, I've never used them. You can actually go, let's see. Let me just go back out here a sec.
No.
But if you wanted to find out more about the barcode scanner, you would just pick it up here with barcode scanner component. You can use your phone's camera to scan a barcode. If you want to learn more, just click on that there. It brings you in and gives you a brief tutorial of what each part means. So the answer, Karen, is no, I've never had to look at any of those. Have we had any success?
Roisin, how are you getting on?
I was struggling to work out how to open it, create a new one to start with, so I'm only getting stuck in now.
Okay.
Right. So the Funkable, have you got this sort of page up? Create new app. You have to be logged in, obviously, on your laptop and on your phone.
I had to go out and come back in because the other one was open and I couldn't find out. So, but it's all right. I'm struggling because when I open up my screen to do my stuff, I can't see what he's doing. What Martin's doing, do you know? It's working between the two, but I'm all right.
Yeah, because I know what you mean. So I'll just pull up the QR code app here again.
We are recording it, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Because I'll probably follow. I'm scuppered with the Wi-Fi here, so I'll probably go through the steps once we get a look at the recorded version.
Basically, you drag in a button, a web viewer, and a barcode scanner, and then when you do that, you go to blocks, and when button click, call the barcode scanner and set the web viewer URL to the result, which is in, they call it value. So say for example, you did create an app, and one way of publicizing it would be to have QR code outside the building, download our app. They use their phone to scan. It would take them directly to the Google Play or Apple store, and they just press install, and then they have the app for the area. Now, I think you'll need two barcodes, one for the address of the Apple Store app and one for the Google Play Store app.
And Martin, could we, for example, if you had like an information point, could you go do the QR code straight to your website?
Oh yeah, definitely. Each QR code is going to give you a link to somewhere. So you could say you had 10 YouTube videos of an area, 10 YouTube history videos of the area. You could have 10 QR codes, or if they're set up on YouTube that one plays after the other, one QR code would start you off. It just depends. You were saying, Dennis, on the exercise park in Buncrana, there's a QR code on each exercise machine, and there's a video on how to use each machine. Yeah,
it's really handy. I don't know if anybody's been on some of those things. I just look at them. But
I have to say,
you can actually.
I normally walk past them.
When you're there wandering around them, actually, it has all the instructions on how to use all the equipment. It's just basically scan on the QR, Now, of course, they know that not everybody's going to have a phone with them at the time, but it just gives people an option. So the makers or the creators of the fitness videos, it just opens up on your phone then as to how to use the equipment and what to do with it and stuff. So it's well done,
Yeah.
But so
I think I mentioned previously that there was the Drunk Free Youth Club were in this Farraga competition, and they raised money for it. It was a kind of, they arranged a tea event in the centre, and they had to do a poster, and they had a YouTube video of the event as well. And so what they did was they just, exact same thing here. They took the QR code of the YouTube video and stuck it in here. They took the resulting barcode and they printed it out and stuck it on the poster. And when the judges came around, the judges were asked to scan the QR code, and the YouTube video came up on the judge's phone, which was quite nice.
Because I mentioned him before too, the fella in who was way ahead of us as regards coding, but 3 or 4 years ago down here, and he was doing stuff for, I mentioned it last week, about a local coffee place. He was putting the QR codes on the side of the cup, or you could just print them normally. So like you could offer, if you're somewhere selling something, you could offer like a discount on your next coffee if you scan the QR code. So you're building like a relationship with your consumer, and that sort of stuff. So it saved handing out.
Yeah, it's like
some places would hand out the little cards where they'd fill out every time you had a coffee, for example. But you saved yourself printing out those because you could just have the customer just scanning it on the. They would always have it on their phone how many coffees they had, So it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So it's the things you can do with it is just mind blowing. Then once you start getting into it. So I'd spend less time in the coffees and more time on the exercise machines as I was walking past. But they're there, like they're all over the place.
I suppose now in the current climate as well, the less contact or the less touch points. Maybe you see a lot of restaurants have them out with outside with their menu.
Yeah, it's the touch point, that is the actual thing that people are trying to cut down on. It's that less interaction, right enough.
Well, like I say that but typing in the URL or whatever, the address, getting this and using the snipping tool. Sorry. And pasting it into Word, and you could put the code in the center, or say for example, I'll just get rid of this one. Text all around it, put some nice colors on it, print it out and protect it in some way and just stick it up, and that's it. As long as the link is to somewhere that you want to go, that's.
Okay, and back to Roisin's question then. So they don't expire, or they don't, once they're created, that's it?
No, that's it, yeah, because that there is just a representation of all the text and stuff. That's all it is. It stays constant. It doesn't change at all.
Okay, is anybody any questions? No.
Did the little app experiment work? Right?
Everybody's quiet.
I'm going to go back to it, I think.
Yeah.
Well, just see too on some of the examples of QR codes is that you can actually color code them as well, so they don't have to be black. I'm just seeing you could have.
Yeah, I've seen some various colored ones there as well.
They're nice, like so you can have them as the color of your brand, for example, and you could have your little brand symbol for example, we could have like our little IDP logo in the middle of the QR code, so the whole QR code becomes branded as well with the colors as well. It still works. Just seeing them here, so it's a nice little.
See all these little white and black spaces or dots. They're basically just ones and zeros that make up, you know, all the bits. You hear of bits and bytes, and they're basically just ones and zeros. I don't know if the white is 0 or the black is 0, and vice versa, but that's all it does, and it stays constant.
There's some even I could be wrong here. Maybe does Oscars use a QR code in their ads in the local papers? Is that some restaurant uses QR codes a lot?
But yeah, I could pull up the menu probably and stuff.
There's definitely a local business uses QR codes just even in the English Times for stuff.
Must check that out.
I'm nearly certain I've seen something, you know. So that is out there.
I'll just show you the MIT version of this here. This was Funkable one, which does obviously iOS and Android. But the MIT one, I'll just bear with me a second. And this one here, you'll see that I pulled in a button again. I called it Scan. Pulled in the web viewer. And I pulled in a barcode scanner. I also pulled in the text to speech, but I think I got rid of that bit of it. But I'll just go over and have a look at blocks. And this is very similar. It says when button 1 is clicked, which is the scan button, do the scan. When the scan is complete, the result of this scan is actually inside this result. And can you see here? Call web viewer, go to URL, get result. So whatever it scans, it goes to that website. And that's basically the exact same as the Funkable one. Obviously, the advantage of the Funkable one is that when you do one app up here and Funkable, and you get it all working, you have these options. And I might just run through this because this is quite important here. If you go download, one thing before I forget, go back to design here. Do you remember we mentioned icons last week? You know, you don't want the little Funkable icon appearing on your app. So if you click on the title, the QR code here, you should see upload icon. So like you said earlier, Dennis, you could have the logo for IDP being the logo on the app rather than, or the icon on the app rather than the Funkable one. I don't know if any of you noticed as well when you install an app on Funkable on your phone, it comes up at the start powered by Funkable, but there's a short YouTube video on how to get rid of that powered by Funkable. You know, if you create a nice app for your organization and somebody opens it up, you don't want to really see 2 or 3 seconds of powered by Funkable on it. And there's a short 20-second, I think 30-second video to get rid of that. Now download, this is when you have developed, say you developed your complete app and it's working fine. There's two, and you want to put it onto an iPhone and you want to put it onto an Android phone for testing. Well, if you click download iOS app, what it does is it starts developing the app for you and it emails you about half an hour or an hour, depending on the time of the day after. So you get it about an hour, say an hour afterwards, and you only have, the link is only valid for an hour as well. So when you get the email, you click on the email, click on the the file that they send you, and then the instructions comes up to install it on your iPhone. So that's how it's done with iOS. If you want to put it on an Android phone, you click download Android app, and I'll just do it now. And it says app download starting for QR code. And eventually it'll end up, it doesn't take that long, it ends up on your downloads folder. And when you have the file in your downloads folder, you should email it to yourself. And then open that email on your phone and follow the instructions, if that makes sense. Now the thing is, depending on your app, the size of it could be quite large and your email might not let you do that. So I don't know if any of you use Dropbox or OneDrive. But anybody has any issues about that, let me know, because one of the apps I did on this Funkable, it was about 35 meg, and there was no way my email was going to allow it to be sent. So what I did was I shared it on OneDrive, or you can do the same thing on Dropbox. Have you used that before? See, there's, I don't know if you can see down bottom left-hand corner, qrcode.apk has been created. I'm just showing folder. Here it is. Can you see it's 33 meg approximately? There's no way Outlook would let me send that. So what I do is, well, I'll just pull up my email here and see. File, new message. Say to Martin. I'll just go attach, browse this computer, qrcode.apk, open, and it tells me your file is pretty large. You can keep your emails small by sharing with OneDrive. And I do that.
Would WeTransfer work for that as well, Martin?
Sorry?
Would WeTransfer work for the?
I'm not aware of WeTransfer, Karen. Was it something similar? Probably would.
It's a file sharing. WeTrans.
Because when I've sent this email now to myself, when I go to my phone and open up my email, all I have to do is click on that attachment, and it will do the same thing that we did a few weeks ago. Do you want to install, or do you want to keep this app, and just go install and then open, and that's on your phone permanently. So you can see here, it's taking a bit of while on my terrible internet.
Martin, I wanted to ask you, I don't have access to a lot of different devices, and I worked through Funkable and did a similar sort of app to what I had done on the previous.
Yeah.
There's a thing on the Funkable which says share. What do you know about that? Could I send that to people who maybe have an iPhone or I don't know, other types of devices, just to see, because the layout appears to change a lot between what I see. The layout of my app is different on my phone than what appears on the live test view screen on the.
Really? Well, hold on, I'll just there's a video on Funkable, how to make the perfect app, right? And did you drag in rows and columns for it, or was it?
No, it's just because the way there's so many options.
Yeah.
you know, for how the buttons is set up and everything. And it's hard to tell how, I can tell what they look like on my phone, but obviously not everybody's going to have the same device as me.
Well, we could,
If we do public. It's just a way of checking out what it looks like on different devices.
Yeah. You know that, well, to be honest with you, I've never used that share. I'll just click on it and see what users who click this link will get a copy of this project and all its media. Generate a link. I'll just try this, will I? And see. All right, you just copy that and then email it. You see the web address there?
Yeah. You might be able to pop it in the chat, Martin. Would it?
Also,
Let me see.
right, say, hold on a sec. Generate link. Copy. Just open it up on my machine here too.
Yeah, the link is, yeah, it's loaded for me.
Now, was the link the one? Sorry, was the link the one that I made up? Was it with the web viewer? Sorry.
Yeah, it has web viewer 1 scan, barcode scanner at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what you would. Was it Rushing? Was it?
Karen here.
No, but who was having the problem with, or who was?
Oh, Rushing, yeah.
Rushing, sorry, I can't see anybody on the screen.
No.
So if you could,
Could I
share it with me, and I'll have a look at it.
Could I share my link now on here, and
Yeah.
people could see what it looks like on their
Yeah,
device?
sure, yeah. And then we could see what it looks like on each device. That could be
I take it then in that scenario you could have like 4 or 5 of us working on the same app in real time,
yeah.
seeing how the change is going, couldn't you? You know?
I was going to suggest that about a week ago, but I thought maybe you want to work individually, but you could all have you could all be working on the same app.
Yeah.
Just make a copy as well. See if you go to because we're all on free accounts, every single one of our projects is visible to everybody else that's on it. So if you go to public gallery, you can go in and take any app that's there and make a copy of it and paste it into your own and work from there, if you know what I mean. So share, generate link, copy that, and put it into the chat box. And when you copy it or paste it in there, Roshan, just press enter and it should appear.
Roshan, do you need us all to click on the link?
Oh, it's there. Okay.
I'm worried that the spacing and everything, that it goes all over the place on different size screens.
Let me see. Everybody could do a live test on their
Let me just see.
God, it looks fine on great on my Android device. Let's see.
I'm on a Samsung, so I designed it around the Android, you see, so I don't know whether
Yeah.
because there's so many options on the way that you can set up the buttons, the sizes and the...
Yeah. I'm just going to try and see if I can find this YouTube Funkable.
On the iPhone, it shows the. I don't know if I can show you this. Can you see?
I'll stop sharing, will I? And you can.
Oh, it looks really weird.
On the iPhone?
So you can see maps just at the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean about the spacing.
Yeah, that's completely different looking to what's on the... That's what I'm worried about. I'll have to get my hands on a iPhone, I think.
There's a video on YouTube that goes through all that. Can I just try it for a second on my iPhone here and see? Yeah, it doesn't look the same. It seems to be too large for my iPhone.
That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah, there's a link to a video, Roisin, that the first thing that the person does, he brings in what are known as rows into his design, and then he places the button in each row, and then he fixes the size of each row so that it's a standard percentage of the app height, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'll send that video on straight away when I find it here.
Yeah, please.
But I think that's what you'd have to do. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I knew myself that there was going to be a problem when I was doing it, because anything I changed slightly for the buttons, when you went into the thing, it looked completely different on my device than it did on the preview. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it might take a bit of work.
There's a what's known as rows and columns in it. Let me see.
You probably nearly better if you're designing an app. Then I'm just thinking ahead. If you were, it's like a Word document. You're probably going to have to think ahead as regards to your rows and your columns. Maybe that's...
Yeah, you see that? Can you see there, Dennis? I've highlighted column, and it says a column is a vertical container that allows you to stack components.
Yeah.
So you could decide, first of all, how many different buttons or whatever you need on them, and you create a container for each one, and then inside each container you put your button, and then they all stay the same the same for both Android and Apple.
You're kind of thinking that you're thinking on being device specific before you even start. I think maybe that's the way to do it.
Yeah, well, it should. If you use the percentage sizes for them, it should one size fits all.
Well, I did my best. I went through all the settings at the side and the advanced settings for each button. And I was like, I'd spent a lot of time fiddling, just, you know, getting on maybe nice corners and everything else. But as well as that, I did stick to the percentages in the hope that that would do it.
All right.
But
And it did, still had a problem. You still had a problem?
Well, obviously, because it's all over the place on the Apple.
What do you see? Now, I don't know if you can see this YouTube. This is the app that the guy tried to copy. This is a ready-made app that he found on the one of the stores, and he tried to replicate it. And in this one here, there was only 4 different elements. Now, in the Malin Head one, you have, I don't know, many you have, Roshi, but you have about maybe 7 or 8 or more. So what he did was he created 1, 2, 3, 4 containers and made them, and in this video, it goes through exactly, we see. I don't know if you can see there, the 4 columns, and it takes you through, see the whole lot. And there was the final. See, the one thing about looking at a YouTube video, even though this YouTube video is only 12 minutes long, it'll take a while to go through it because you're swapping from one screen to the other and copying exactly what they're doing.
I think, Roisin, I developed one on the iPhone, and I did, I suppose similar to you, I embedded some photographs and I had buttons. And I found working with the percentages difficult. The buttons didn't end up where I expected them to be, and sometimes the photographs would go into them. So I had to sort of add space above or space below rather than the percentages. You know, there was a lot of fiddling, so maybe the columns is an easier way to set it all up so you're working just within the different boxes.
I had this.
I have to be brutally honest here. I don't know. I'm pretty new to Funkable, but I'm assuming that if it works for this guy here, it should work, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's probably like most programs when it comes down to presentation and stuff. It's probably just a matter of playing around with it to find.
Yeah. A worst case scenario, it might be doing 2 different apps, one for iPhone and one for Android, maybe. I have to say
I'll
now,
just have to talk,
the Android one
talk nicely to somebody to lend me an iPhone.
Sorry, Martin, can I just ask, would that kind of anomaly be just between Android and the iOS, or would it be between, you know, different providers or manufacturers? Would it be like Samsung and Huawei, and or is it just Apple?
Sure, and it looked fine on mine. Mine's is a Huawei. Roisin's is Samsung, I think, is it?
The other thing I was thinking about too was what it would look like on, you know, the way a lot of people now use little tablets and things.
Oh yeah, it should be the
because they're all a different proportion altogether.
Yeah, but what I did was, you know, the initial app that I sent around, the kind of template. I used percentages on that, and I put it on various Android tablets and apps, and it came up the exact same on each. So hopefully I know this it takes a lot of time rushing, but if you tried this video, I think you might have a bit of luck. I can't say for sure, but
I'll do a hunt through. I'll have a look at that, and I'll have a hunt through for other suggestions as
Yeah.
well, maybe.
I've copied it in the link there on the chat. So
It's just worth creating one page by itself to see then if you could get it to bring it up on other devices.
yeah,
Obviously before you go creating a whole entire app, it might be worth looking at one page by itself, just to see. I think it's down to a wee bit of storyboarding though. So if you're at a stage too, Roshan, where you're flying ahead too, you're got loads of good stuff going on there. But you'd be scunnered then if you put that much work into something and it still doesn't look right down the line. That's
It's all part of the learning, just, I think.
throwing the phone against the wall going, but I've noticed now seeing a lot of those apps that my whole idea about designing is kind of going out the window this last while, because doing websites or stuff, you're kind of thinking, how can you put this much information into a short space? And I think it's nearly kind of relearning yourself into how can I take all this information out of that and just have what's really necessary, because you see some of the apps and they're so slimline and they look fantastic even with their graphics, but they say and display a lot more than I could ever do. You know, I'm kind of thinking too much, you know, just kind of learning to pull back a wee bit too with the apps. I think that's my problem.
I just run through that Malin Head app on my Android device, and it looks spot on, perfect. So I think it might be a case of looking at that video. I'd love to see the results, Roshan, by the way. It'd be great if it just appeared on the Apple and Android the same, wouldn't it?
It would. It would have been too much to ask for, I think, really.
It looks impressive anyway, Roisin.
Oh, it's brilliant. Brilliant. I must have a go to myself, because I haven't got into that much detail on it. But you need to get it working for both, don't you? Really.
It's worth the effort. I think that's definitely worth the effort if you do. You know, it's because you know, sure as hell, the first person you'd be trying to show it to, they'll be sitting with a apple. You just know it. You'll be telling them how great this app you have, and then they'll be looking at it going, Jesus Christ.
We'll be getting an orange.
Yeah, I've probably got a different model of iPhone than Martin, and mine's just cutting the top and the bottom off as well. I think it's
that's exactly what mine's was doing, Gabriel. Top and bottom are being cut off. Have you an iPhone 6?
11.
11. That's the larger one, isn't it?
Sort of in between. It's not the sort of a big size phone, but it's bigger than the smaller normal model phones. It's a good in between size.
You know what it could be like? It'd be like years ago when you're trying to get your aerial to work. As long as you have someone with an iPhone beside you and you're all, what does that look like? What does that look like now? What does that look like now?
Well, I think everybody knows what the homework is.
Can I ask two questions, Martin, that are really basic? Now, I've done the apps on Funkable and on the MIT, so I have done my homework. I know you've probably covered this, and I don't know where to look for it on the videos. They're very basic. One is, how do I switch just now? Like how do I switch between Funkable projects? So I've got on my iPhone, when I turn it on, I can see my different projects. But on the web page, where do I switch between projects?
All right, you go back out to, click on Funkable here, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you should see them all.
All right, yeah.
You just click on the one that you one that you want?
Yeah.
So I'll just go back to this one, say, and you said there was another question, was there?
Yeah, I've just tried that, and it obviously works. Thanks very much. When I developed the app on that MIT one, the MIT app developer, and it was I think the first week I just did what you did. I just added different buttons, to the first page and stuff. And then when I went to go to different pages, what I was struggling with was, do you know, in the left-hand column where you have, I'm just going to switch over to it again.
Over here on the left, where I've got my cursor here.
Let's go back onto, yeah, see where the user interface, like if I want to, sorry, if I go to blocks, if I click on blocks, on that first page, on the left-hand side, you have at the bottom, like text to speech 1, and you have little lightning strike with web activity starter.
Yeah. Let me just go to the project, Gabriel, and I'll.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had logged me out there.
While it's coming up, so on your first page, you had web activity starter and text to speech 1, and you sort of pulled that over, and it gave you, when web button 1 click, and you have the set web activity starter for whatever.
Yeah.
But when I went to the next page, when I started to create, a page 2 and a page 3.
Yeah.
How do I, those web activity starters, they weren't there.
Don't work. Yeah. So you go to your second screen.
Yeah. So if I go to new screens, they're not even there. Sorry.
Oh, you just add screen if they're not there.
So if I go to add screen to a new screen.
Yeah. So we're on screen 2 now at the moment, and if I go to blocks, there is no activity starter. So what you have to do is you go back to the designer.
Yeah.
And let me see. You see activity starter?
Is that under connectivity?
Yeah. You drag that in to your app.
Right.
And now you have it. And then you can use the blocks.
So that web starter thing, where is that? How do I get that? Do you know the lightning strike?
Yeah.
They don't. So
you go to designer, down to connectivity,
yeah,
and drag in activity starter. And then blocks, you should see it here. Yeah. And then you can pull in the activity starter, like the previous screen.
Is that web button? When web button? Is that, where is that?
Yeah, well, just go back here. Can you see what, depending on what button, what's the name of the button on your second screen? You would go set web activity starter to such and such.
Where's the set web activity starter button? Where is that?
Go to blocks, click on, well, I'll just go to the second screen first of all, sorry. I have the activity starter in here, hopefully now I have. Set activity starter. Let me just go back and see the exact text.
You see, what I tried to do, Martin, was, do you see if you right click on the actual big block?
Yeah.
It says add to backpack, which is in the top right hand side of the screen.
Hold on one sec. There's your thing there, Gabriel, from activity starter. Sorry, go back there and tell me, what was that again?
Right, so say if you hover over, say, the that set activity starter that you've just brought in there.
Yeah.
If you right click on that, it says add to backpack.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I created a new page, and then I opened that from the backpack.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't, it wouldn't activate. It didn't recognize the button.
No.
So I probably.
think you have to put in a new one on the second page, Gabriel.
Yeah.
So on the second page, you will also have to. There's no buttons on this at the moment, so you'd have to drag in a button somewhere wherever it goes, and it's button 2, I think. When button 2, click.
Yeah.
And then get your text and put in your website address there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you put in an item on page 1, it doesn't mean that it's available on every other page.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to insert it. Sorry. You have to insert it again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.